Well, the politicians are away from the National Assembly for the summer break, and now they're making the rounds in their ridings and, in some cases, here in Montreal. Joining us now from his Montreal office building is Girard, Finance Minister, and also the Minister responsible for relations with English-speaking Quebecers. Thank you for your time today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we'll start with finances. Quebecers, of course, very heavily taxed, and as taxpayers, they're expecting certain standards when it comes to public services, but they're seeing massive cuts in things like the healthcare system, the education system, and they're also seeing things like cost overruns of $500 million for CAQ. So how are they supposed to have confidence in the way your government is managing public finances?
Well, I think the words are important, and it's important to be really precise. I mean, the budgets for education or healthcare are increasing this year versus last year. What we're seeing is slower growth in expense growth than we're used to, because following the pandemic, we had growth rate in expenses in the magnitude of 6-7% per year. And now, as we need to move back to balanced budget, what you will see in the future are 2 to 3% expense growth. So a lot of what is being said in the press is, oh, we're seeing cuts, but really what they're saying is that the budget increase are less than they would like. But that's an important precision.
Okay, so slower growth compared to cuts, but I think what sticks in people's minds
compared to what the demand is.
Right.
But as we manage public finance, we need to be aware of the taxpayer capacity to pay. And because revenues in the long terms are growing 3 to 4% per year, expense growth need to be lower by definition.
I think, though, what sticks out in people's minds is sort of the concrete stories that they're hearing. Things like, okay, if you go to the CHUM, you might not get Kleenex because the budget has been cut for that. You know, so I think that's what taxpayers are frustrated with. Do you understand that kind of frustration?
I understand that there are some experience that are suboptimal in the healthcare system or in the education system, but I think we also have a responsibility to state that there are tens of thousands of positive experience every day in our healthcare system, and sometimes, and I'm being really cautious here, but sometimes we're overemphasizing what's not going right and not talking enough about what is going well. And yes, there are instances where the healthcare services are not up to par or what is being hoped or asked or even required, but overall, every day, tens of thousands of interventions are positive. And if you look at the school system, I think we had a school year this year that was better than the previous year. And I think that we should all recognize that we've made important investment in our education system, and that overall, our public schools are in better shape today than they were 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, I want to move from finances to relations with the province's anglophones, because that is also your responsibility. Would you say that relationship has improved, and if so, how?
I think communications have improved. I think we have more contact points, and we understand better where the areas where there are conflicts. For example, if you talk about school board, there is a definite position that are opposed, and this is in courts, and therefore people are not happy with the appeal. But so that's a real sticking point. With the tuition fees, we did not decide to appeal, and there will be discussion with the English universities on how to improve the French courses that are, or the integration that is provided to outside the students, and the communication lines are open. So I think we've been successful in having more contact points, more communication, and in terms of reaching, really the ultimate goal is to move from a point where there's a lot of there's a lack of trust to a situation where there's more trust. And that's what I'm aiming. And have I been 100% successful? No. But we certainly, right now, we understand better that's really what is being looked for by the English-speaking Quebecers. They're looking to move from to a position where everybody trusts each other in our relations.
All right, Mr. Girard, we will have to leave it there. Thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. We do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.